You know, the last couple weeks, there's been an accelerated level of articles coming out about cyber warfare, about these units the military's creating and housing them in Air Force bases to fight the future of warfare, which is beyond what's taking place in the battlefield. They're running these exercises at the same time that we're seeing major power outages around the world in major cities, which they're claiming hackers are responsible for. Now, the question is, how are we going to secure our own communications when this current grid of information goes down, this current database known as the Internet, which we do know now was something that was created by the government in the 60s. And we've forgotten that. We've forgotten that this platform is moving into a new world to where they can easily force us onto Internet 2. They're already announcing that thousands of our emails are being read on a regular basis, uploaded automatically to the server in the sky or some other database. It's very interesting to see how all of this progresses as we move closer and closer into a world where we can actually see parts of our Internet break down. And we're starting to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Is it really because they're running out of space? Or is it because there's a bug in the system that's designed to be there? Rather than debate about internet censorship or where the internet's going, I think the time is already past for us to seriously begin a real face-to-face discussion about alternative communications. How are we going to get information out to people in the community when the platform of the internet goes down? I have a couple suggestions for keeping your ear to the ground, like a wind-up shortwave radio. That way, through the ionosphere, you can pick up transmission from Europe about what's happening in America if we're under martial law. And communications have been cut off to a certain degree. The AM/FM band, the television stations, unless, of course, they're running state media reports. You also want to look at two-way radios for you and your crew or whoever you're going to be working with or whoever's a part of your survival group. And I do recommend that in each town, in each city, whether you're in the country or whether you're in the urban grid, the real value in your local community is not how much money your neighbor has or you have, because that's not going to be worthless in the future. That's not going to mean anything the way it means something today, now that credit is actually still being issued by design to our government so we can go further and further into the abyss of debt. The real value in your community is your ability to work with each other. It's the people in your community. And see, we are biological beings living in this grid. And with all this technology around us that has surpassed our own spirituality, we forget about basic relationships. How a lot of the aspects of survival aren't just about the individual preparation you may or may not already be engaged in, but your real hands-on ability to work with other people. So in terms of alternative communications, from shortwave radios to two-way radios, you can hear what emergency personnel is responding to in a crisis by getting a scanner at this time. You can get some models for less than $100. Cell phones are the very last thing that you want to rely on, but you also want to keep your eyes open to the old technology which still exists, like CB radios, and knowing a little bit about that and the terminology that goes along with using CB radios. And a lot of it still exists to this day, but we forgot about it as we have become collectively more dependent on the cell phone. The cell phone, which of course triangulates exactly where you are by GPS and sending that signal back to the server. And now we're reading about how the NSA has actually put in their hubs in telecommunication buildings, including San Francisco, where they have a whole floor that's just delegated out to the NSA. So the point of this whole bonus video on alexdancery.com, by the way, I want to thank you for stopping by. It took me days and days to redesign the site. The purpose of this is that I felt that I had to get this information out, archive as much information as I can, and make it navigatable to those coming on my website, not because I'm looking for money or donations. As you can see, I don't even have any sponsors, and I hold a regular job. It's to get this information out to those that do need it, that do want it, before the grid goes down. I think in these, I don't like to use the term last days, but I think in this current era that we're in, on a spiritual note, I think it's important to live each day as if it were our last, and forget about the voices of dissent in our own ranks that tell us that all is lost, that we've lost everything, that they've taken everything, and they're tracking each one of us, because that's not the case. Their number one fuel source, those that are engaged in the propaganda, is fear. Fear, which is something that literally kills in multiple ways, including fear being used for propaganda to legitimize a genocidal wipeout of a third world population. So when you go beyond fear, you go beyond these boundaries which have kept us in this metaphorical prison, not just a physical one, but a psychological one. As you move forward through that, hope and your ability to comprehend a new world without a new world order is the very thing that the elites are afraid of, and that's losing their control over your mind, because this is a war for your mind. But to some degree, I also believe very strongly it's a war for your soul. Thanks for coming by the website. Check it out. More stuff will be archived in the near future. We'll talk to you next time.